It's not that Donald Trump is not a nice man. It's not that he's thoroughly unpleasant. He's evil. He's a psychopath. You mentioned that he's not capable of empathy. He's humanly incapable of empathy. Now, what does that mean, Ben? Like, what does that mean? That means the president of the most powerful country in the history of the planet is humanly incapable about caring about anyone or anything but himself. So a well-known Hollywood director and his wife are brutally stabbed to death by their adult son, and the guy in the White House comes out and says the reason he was killed was because he had too much hate for me. I just don't think this is said enough. It needs to be said again. Donald Trump is one of the worst and most horrible human beings who's ever lived. I mean, ever lived. Ever lived. We think of
That's
serial
big
killers.
claim,
think
Joe.
of mass murderers. Think of tyrants who've killed millions during their reigns. We've had American commentators today put up Trump's post and say there are no words. Bull crap. There are words. That's evil. That's psychopathic. That's not human. That's monstrous. And until we have the courage to call him what he is, then America will never move beyond him.
Do you think his supporters know all this, Joe? Do you think they grasp what you're saying? They might well agree with a lot of it and they don't care. And if not, how has he managed to convince tens of millions of Americans that he's actually a great guy after all?
Well, that's a great question. I don't think he's convinced anybody he's a great guy. Look, I'm a former Tea Party guy. I was out every day last year campaigning for Kamala Harris. And what most voters in the middle told me was, Joe, I know Trump's a blankety blank. I know he's a bad guy, but the Democrats suck. They're out of touch. They look down on me. This needs to be understood. America knowingly elected an a-hole. We knowingly elected a bad guy. I think most of his supporters, because they've told me, because I used to be a Trump supporter, Joe, I know he's a jerk, but look what he's doing. It's way beyond that. It's not that he's just a jerk. We haven't talked about this tonight. We're talking about a human being, Ben, who lies every time he opens his mouth. I'm a former politician. All politicians lie. We've never been here before. He lies every time he opens his mouth. We've never had the courage to confront really what he is.
This sounds like a sort of stupid question, Joe, or a simplistic question, but I think it's an interesting one. Why does it matter? Because what you're saying there is tens of millions of Americans were willing to overlook the fact that Donald Trump is, to use your words, evil, because they thought he would do a good job for them and their families, effectively. They thought he would make them better off, he would bring about the kind of changes they want to see, and if he happened to be a psychopath while he was doing it, well, so be it. Why are they wrong to think that?
Well, and that's why, my friend, I love your question. Does it matter? Because that's the question I've put in front all day of Trump supporters. Because if any American voter says it doesn't matter, it doesn't matter that Trump's a bad guy. It doesn't matter that he's a pathological liar. It doesn't matter that he's horrible, cruel, and psychopathic. If you say it doesn't matter, then what you're saying is the character, the personal character of any politician no longer matters.
Yeah.
So then, baby, a Democratic candidate comes down the road in 4 years and he's an ass and he's cruel and he lies all the time. Well, look at me, Trump supporter. Hey, look at me. You told me it doesn't matter. It wipes personal character completely off the map. Now, I think that's a really frightening place to go.
Why, Joe? Why is character beyond competence and sort of vision for the country? Why is personal character still so important?
Because then we can never hold anyone we elect accountable for what they do. the bad things they say, the cruelty they impose on people, the lies, the hatred, the incitement of violence. Look, remember what we're talking about here. We're talking about a guy who 5 years ago incited people to overrun our capital to overthrow an election. But we reelected that guy. So what we said was, it doesn't matter if our leaders incite violence. Character leads to what you do. Ultimately, it does. And if we break that tie, and you made some great points, like, sure, we elect politicians all the time who have questionable character. We've never done this. And I'll say it again till I'm blue in the face. He is the utter worst of us. If we accept that, then we have to accept anyone. Anyone.
One of the worst people ever to have lived, says Joe Walsh. I don't know if I go quite that far, but I think a lot of what Donald Trump does is evil. And if you define evil as a complete lack of empathy or humanity, a complete callous disregard for other people's emotions and needs, then Donald Trump is evil. I think there's a strong case that Donald Trump is an evil individual.